Hey guys, GamingG423 here today, and welcome to the 6th week already of the Grotti Turismo World Championship. We're going down to the final few weeks now, and this week's done on Pluto GP, made by myself. Week 4 was also done by myself, but it was a recreation of Louis' track. Forgot to mention that in the video in week 4. But this track is originally from my creation, and let's see how we go down. So this week was a bit of a disaster in terms of connection. I mean, firstly, only 11 people showed because I think there were a few reserves and things like that who couldn't join, and a few people did lag out. And this was the worst turnout this week, but it was okay because we eventually, we got some people at least. We had enough people to keep the race going, and so as you see there, the grenade goes off. Go through the first three corners, not too many incidents. Surprise through the chicane, no one crashes. It was all actually quite good. As we can go into, I started in second position, but got a bad start again, and and Kenroy overtakes me into second. But I'm not too worried about that. I just want to stay focused and stay consistent, because I knew it was kind of all down to this week. After a terrible performance off the grid, I needed some points, and my consistency was a bit better this week, but again, we'll come on to that later on in the video. But yeah, Polito Bay track this week, it was quite tight for the Turismos to go on, so it was interesting to see how the battles went on, and because there's a lot of debris as well on the sides of the roads, and a very short track, about 56 was one of the best laps, and I think 58 or 59 was race pace, and so therefore that would included 52 laps in the actual race, and that's quite a lot considering the laps that we had for other races, such as like next week as such. We have only about 18 laps or so, but that's quite a long track, hill track next week. But yeah, as you can see, Design managed to get an overtake on Living Sign, and he grabs fourth position, applying pressure on me. The gap between me and Kenroy is slowly increasing, even though it's my own track. I'm still not getting the best lap times on it, but I got some pretty decent lap times. I hit 57.9 was my best lap time, I believe. But all I wanted to do this race was just to stay consistent, because I knew I was gonna lose points otherwise. So hit the pole there, ran wide. Sorry for the debris that was caused by that, but Design managed to get an overtake through that. And most of the overtakes here were usually through people crashing. Otherwise, there's not much to this track in terms of overtaking. So that's why it was kind of controversial and hard track to have an endurance race on. But anyway, as we go into the next few laps, lap 5 now. I think we skipped through a few laps here, and eventually Gesso disconnects, and that was quite unfortunate. So as I said, connection issues were quite a big problem this week. I believe the Xbox 360 servers are slowly decreasing, but we go into lap 7 now, and Design's catching up to Kenroy, and I am slowly plodding along as such, just kind of keeping my composure, don't want to crash. As long as I am in a third position, is still a very good position. I believe Viti crashes actually, and he's in the pack there, 3 people behind me having a battle. So I knew if I could stay in front of them, I mean, straight away if I go past them, I'm down into 6th. So eventually I do end up hitting the barrier. Living Sign taps me in the back. I get wrecked, but that wasn't Sign's fault, that was my fault, obviously. So I go down into 6th now. Again, as I said, consistency is very important, which I can't do for some reason because I'm an idiot. So we go into the 10th lap, and Fancy Cub, McVitie, who started in first, and Sign all are ahead of me. Hit the barrier. Mo Shot's catching up to me now, and I managed to hold him off for quite a few laps, I believe. Didn't make many mistakes in these next couple of laps, and we go around the horizontal barriers. Got to be wary of that, because sometimes that can clip your car, and it can you can't kind of flip, sort of. So as we go into the second half of the lap, still holding off Mo. The gap is pretty much maintained between the three in front of us, and we can see it. So as you see that a lot of debris is being caused, like that pole especially was a big problem in this, and the fire hydrants, of course, they were very big issues, and some sort of fucking fence, I don't even know. Luckily it didn't screw me over. I saw Gallic one's video, some sort of thing screwed him over with Shadowzz. But yeah, as you can see there, a few laps later, Mo's catching me back up again. Another fire hydrant's gone down, so a lot of things are going down at this point. Oversteer slightly, and Mo managed to grab the inside of me. GG Mo. But going around, I try to get I got a good run on him here, but his lag car was kind of fucked me over a little bit. But anyway, yeah, that's alright. I didn't really manage too much. Fancy Cub hits the barrier. I believe he had some sort of moment with Sign, and managed to get Mo managed to grab 2 positions on the same lap. And yeah, we're in 7th right now. So I mean, it's not looking great. Like in the position I am, it's not looking great. We're a quarter of the way into the race, but Fancy Cup screws over. I kind of screw over like a little bit. Fancy Cup hits the barrier as well, but this position I was in a good position, if that makes sense, because I was in a bad position, but I had a lot of people in front of me which I could overtake using pit strategies. So Fancy Cup again crashes. I'm not sure what happened really there with him, and I got up into 6th, so that was good. And Copyright and Fancy Cup were battling it out, so hopefully I could pull away from them, pull back to Mo, using my pit strategies, because I knew again I didn't have the pace for this race. But McVitie there, as you can see, was really pacing it, and he was trying to get through to the front of the race, to the start of the grid, where he started in first, and he really did have the pace this week. He's really doing very well for himself. So as we skip a few laps later, we go into lap, I'm not too sure what lap it is actually, but I hit the barrier slightly there, lose a position out to Fancy Cup on the inside, and at this point, at this point I think I was going in for my first pit, and go through the chicane. You know, it's quite a hard one to do at night, and just waiting my 30 seconds, escaping through into the 16th lap. This allowed me to have some good free air to really just pace it out. But like some other races endurance races that I've done, straight away as I come out the pits, I always crash, and I don't know what it is. Sometimes I just keep doing it. Maybe it's because I'm not sure exactly how it was, but that was the whole pit strategy ruined, the first pit, and Shadowzz, you can see there, caught up to me through the pits. So he had a good pit, but I did not. So us two purples battling it out now. We are trying to catch up to the main pack as well, because none of them are pitted, I believe. Yeah, so really, yeah, just a battle. But I lose a bit more time to Shadowzz here, and as you can see, that copyright, I think that's copyright anyway, right behind me. Oh no, sorry, that was Delgatic one. I think copyright was in front of us at this point because he had not pitted. So yeah, copyright pitted there, so I gained another position. And I crashed there. I'm not sure exactly how that happened. I think I just kind of clipped the inside. That's what I kept doing. Like, I never did that in practice, but I kept doing it on the race. I kept turning in too early and losing out a lot of positions. Anyway, going back into this is the last lap, I believe, for the pit lane. Or the pit lane just finished, so everyone's in their respective positions. Copyright's a few seconds behind me. Shadow's a few seconds in front of me. Shadow's pacing at this point, trying to catch up to the other pack. So yeah, this point, just trying to, you know, again keep a consistent catch up to Shadowzz if I can, even though he's pulling away from me. But besides the point, you know, again, this has not been the greatest race, but at least I know I'm getting some points for wherever position I come, because there's only 10 people in the race. But anyway, a few laps later, Copyright slowly catches me down, and I try to hold them off, but obviously because my consistency is not very good. The fire hydrant was put down. I don't know how. I think that was Shadowzz, but that didn't really put me off. That was Shadowzz put them, both of them. But yeah, as you can see, that I crashed on the horizontal barriers, putting me down into ninth. But I have a really nice. But this is where the battle emerges between me and Copyright. Slightly runs wide there, and I have a really good battle until for a good number of laps. So we keep it going for a while. So I go on the curb there, try to cut him on the inside, but I managed to oversteer, and now he's a few seconds ahead of me. So yeah, basically that's how it's gone. Go into the next few laps. Becoming daytime now. I believe the second pit window is coming up fairly soon, but I'm not too sure. As we go into the 30, the first, second pit lane is now open. 33rd lap, I do my second pit stop and leave at the appropriate time. Copyright just passing me because he had already done his pit, so I thought I'd try and pace it. But the gap pretty much, I think it slightly closed a few seconds because I had some free air. Copyright pit early on the first lap, I pit on the second lap. So yeah, actually it was a fairly decent second pit for myself in terms of, well, obviously not getting too many positions, not getting any positions, but I managed to close the gap on Copyright, so that was always a good sign. So Design and McVitie were right behind me at this point, so I knew I had to let them pass at one point. I think I let Design through on the straight. I think. Yeah, I did. But I was just letting off there. Actually, it's kind of. I don't know if he like both the times where I let Mo and Design pass. Both of them neither of them had the run on me, so it's kind of unfortunate, but it's alright. Doesn't matter. I could hopefully catch down to Copyright anyway. Didn't matter anyway. I had to run on him again, but out of nowhere, this is where it really kind of hit me. I think after this corner, that McVitie was right behind me. I was like, holy shit! And I looked back, like, oh my god, I didn't know McVitie was there, and I was blocking him. So I let him pass as soon as possible because I knew he had the pace to, catch down Design. So I was like, oh shit, don't let them get in the way of their battle. So let Vitty through, and I knew Copyright had to do the same. I think he ran wide on the corner, so they were both having a really nice battle and catching up to Copyright. So this is where Copyright let both of them. Oh no, sorry. Copyright let both of them through. I tapped the end of Copyright and I spin out. So yeah, that was not very good. The debris screwed me over there. I don't know who hit it down. I'm not really bothered, but it was kind of annoying how I just tapped Copyright's back, and it was not the fault of Copyright, but I'm just saying it's kind of annoying how my car just randomly spun out. But a few laps later, Mo is catching up behind me. I've caught up to Copyright. I'm not sure. I think he hits the outside barrier on this hairpin a few laps earlier. And again, as you can see, that Mo never gets the actual run on me like Design. But no, I'm not too concerned anyway. It's alright. I knew Copyright had to let them through at one point, so it'd be back down to square one again. So letting Mo through, just get out of the way. I didn't really like. I think it would cause more pressure if I'd crashed and he'd stopped, like he'd lost time because of that. I didn't want that to happen, so I just let him through as early as possible. And a bit of lag there from Mo. I'm not sure exactly what was happening. I think his internet wasn't the best today. I was kind of hit the horizontal barriers, ran a bit wide, and Copyright eventually lets Mo through on the hairpin, I think it is. He likes to give people the opportunity to lap them on that part of the track because it is an ideal overtaking area, but I should have done that in theory, but oh well, it doesn't matter, it's done now. Anyway, yeah, Copyright lets through Mo, and I tried to get a run on Copyright, but I managed to go on the curb very, very slightly, and that screws me over because I slightly tap the curb and I slide oversteer on my car, and I think Copyright hits the barrier, the outside barrier, one more time, and managed to get the overtake on him eventually. I'm not sure when that actually happens. It's a bit later on in the race, but Going to the 46th lap, literally, there's like four, eight, no, not four, sorry, 6 more laps left. Copyright does eventually choke. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think he might have hit down a lamppost, caused him to spin, but that was it was good for me, but I really wanted to have that battle. But anyway, because I knew I had to push it from there, and I saw 46, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna push it. But fortunate for me, unfortunately for Copyright, he he does hit the pole, but I almost make a mistake there. As you can see, I hit the inside pole and almost run wide into the light. But yeah, that was good. Now at this point, my heart was like kind of racing a little bit because I knew he was like 2 seconds behind me, and if I made one little mistake, it would go all badly wrong. So all I had to do was just kind of keep in front of him for like how many other laps I had left. I think, because obviously I wasn't going to. I don't think I was going to finish the race. I think Delgadicon was so close to finishing. Was so close to finishing the race. I think he would the leaders were about 1 or 2 laps away from him getting that point of his because he was in last place, but he carried on racing. So yeah, as you can see, then now we're down to 9 people under double digits, which wasn't the greatest turnout for this week, but hopefully we can get some more next week. And going into the last lap now, I'm still holding Copyright off. I'm being very cautious with my moves. He's actually caught me down very well, but obviously he'd be pushing it at this point. But I was keeping it easy. All I had to do was to survive the DNF counter, and Copyright was pushing it very hard. I think I almost make a mistake at one point. I think one of these corners. I think I take this corner very slowly or something like that, and he catches me very rapidly. So again, we got like 5 seconds. He's right up my arse, and I think he kind of hits the outside barrier there, but I managed to hold the DNF counter off. There are the final standing, guys. Finish in 8th position with 4 points to my name. It's getting very close to the top, with Fancy Cup in first with 87 points, Shadowzz with 86 points, and Design with 85 points. So thanks, guys, and I'll see you next week.